everybody, and welcome back to my channel. We're going to be doing something different today, but first, I have just ridden Donut. It's about 8 p.m, so I'm going to go put him away, and I will get into what today's video is about. Say goodbye, Donny. You should be feeling very privileged. One, because it is very late, it's like approaching 8:45, and two, because I was listening to music and I had an absolute banger on from the Queen herself, Whitney Houston. So I have stopped that in order to video this video for you. So as you'll know from the title, this video is about what I feed my horses. So obviously I am in my storage wash box come tack room and feed room. This is the feed bin. I'm going to open her up, and it would be really handy if I'd updated these, wouldn't it? They're a really good idea of mine where I put what the horses eat on there, but they do need updating, so there isn't even a donut on there, but it is quite a handy thing. So as you can tell, I store everything in one room as well as having my wash box, and that means that I have to be quite economical with how much stuff I have and how I store everything. And obviously feed, I don't want rats in it. So a couple of years ago, before we even moved here, I bought 2 of these ginormous feed bins. I feel like I need to put this down so I can chat to you a little bit better. Where shall I put it? 2 seconds. Hey, presto, hands-free. So you can see how big this bin is. It's to hear me, despite me being fairly short, but you know, that being said, it's still a very large bin. I will show you what's in it in a second. I'm going to start off by showing you the buckets. They're colour-coded. So Miss Maggie has a blue one, and they match their water buckets that go in their stables. Flinty has a green one. Titan has a orange one, and Donutty is still on the newbie bulletproof black bucket. So that is part of my vlog today. I would like you guys to help me pick a colour of bucket like this for Donut, because I just don't know what to go for. Do I give him a pretty purple or a darker blue? I'm not sure, but yeah, that's what they have. Now I'll go into the feed. Let's let you have a look in. We have the feed bin, and it is a fairly organised. So this is my Alpha A chaff. As you might be able to tell if you recognise the brand, I feed all key flow feeds. Fine. There we go. An upside down logo. And I have fed them since 2016, so that's a long time, 6 years ago. This just gives you a bit of an insight. So I've got feed down there, feed here, and here, and this bag isn't open. And what have I got down there? A bag of Sensicare. You can see there, I feed Key Flow feeds. As I say, I've been feeding them for 6 years, and I just really believe in their system. And before anybody asks, this is not sponsored or supported or anything of the likes. We buy it, and we have done for the last 6 years. So the reason I feed it is because it has been designed specifically for the horses and for their digestive system, and it is designed to work with them rather than against them. So not saying that your other feeds are wrong. If you feed other feeds, that is fine, but I find this is what works best for my horses, and I've found them very calm on it, and it is such a simple system. So I've been kind of holding off making this video because it's a little bit boring in what the horses have, because actually they have all very, very similar. Maggie, Titan and Flint all have the same feed. I'm going to do a better video talking through nutrition because you may or may not know I've got a degree in equine sports science. So I know fair amount about anatomy of the horses, etc. So I think I'll do that where I go into more depth. But basics of it is horses need more fibre than hard feed. They need to be able to digest it easily. They don't need ridiculous amounts of sugar and protein. And these feeds just tick all of my boxes for that. They also need all of their vitamins and minerals. And when we moved on to this feed, we actually had Cam Price, who owns the business, but they have a team of nutritionist reps that come out and talk to you as well. And if you wanted a yard visit, I'm sure I can direct you to the right people. They are ever so knowledgeable. It's fantastic. But at that time, the company was quite young and new, so Cam came out and he talked us through the system. He explained why they had done certain things, and something that I found really interesting. I think I was in first year of uni when he came out, so I was still just learning about a lot of this. But I hadn't realised that if you give too much of one vitamin and not another, etc., they can cancel out each other. So his one piece of advice was, regardless of if we went on to Keyflow, to make sure that if you are feeding one brand of feed, stick with it if you can. And the reason of that is because each feed company doesn't really know what vitamins and minerals and what quantities they have put into each other's feeds. So if you're feeding a balancer of one brand, say Dodson and Horrell, and then you're feeding a mix of Saracen, let's say, for example, they don't necessarily know what's in each other's feed, so they're not balancing it to each other. I hope that makes sense, which is why I stick with the Keyflow, and actually it's just so simple. So I'm going to quickly make up the horses' feeds, and you will see literally how simple it is. So I start off with pink mash, and I don't know what the feeding recommendation is of this. I've been on it for so long, but it is a fibre feed. I've got a lovely Keyflow cup that I may have or may not have smashed, and we feed this and it gets soaked. And I think it says it's meant to take 10 minutes to soak, and I think it's a 1-to-2 ratio. So in theory, you do 1 cup of pink mash to 2 cups of water. But what I do is I just do 1 cup, and then about half a stub scoop matches it up quite nicely. So let me put you down where you can see me making feeds. Okay, so we're just going to start off with the pink mash. I've already put a cup in the donuts bucket, 1 cup for each of the horses, and a half a scoop of water. And I always keep a really handy bucket of water and scoop, and my mixers in there as well. So it is dead quick and easy to do, because you know me, I'm always running short of time. So let's do this. So that's how that looks, a cup of pink mash and half a scoop of water from my handy bucket here. And literally it's been like 2 minutes and the mash is nearly soaked. So the thing I love about the pink mash, and I think it's like the most well recognised feed of the brand, is that it is a fibre, it's sugar-free. It's like a health kick for the horses. So some horses love it instantly, but other horses take a little while to come around to it, I think because of like the sugar-free stuff, I'm sure. I think I would have the same opinion, to be fair. I'm quite partial to a bit of chocolate, but, you know, it obviously makes them feel good, but also once they're eating it, they really like it. And Maggie hates having stuff syringed into her mouth, so trying to get a wormer into her is like the hardest thing ever. But because she likes her feed so much, and in the pink mash, I just give her a little bit of extra pink mash to mask the flavour, and she eats her wormer, she'll eat antibiotics, she'll eat the works in there. And so will Titan. Like he's had his poorly moments this summer, and he was the same. The pink mash is based off of beetroot, which is interesting. It's slightly different, but it's just great. And all of the Keyflow feeds, they've got let's say probiotics. Let's see, yeah, prebiotics in the feeds, and they're micronized or steam extruded. Steam extruded, just checking the bag. Steam extruded and micronized, which is all a method of making sure that the feed is more digestible. It's like pre-digestion. So, you know, like if you're just feed standard oats, the horses cannot digest them. That's why they need to be rolled and the likes. And this, I'm not feeding oats. My horses don't need oats, goodness me. But yeah, the methods of pre-digesting them is excellent, because then it means that they're able to draw out the nutrients that they need and the energy that they need without wasting any. So that means that I have an ability to pretty much feed by the cup. So pink mash is soaked, easy peasy. And to be completely honest, if I wasn't stood here chatting to you, I'd have just carried on making up the feeds, and by the time I'd finished popping all the other bits in, the pink mash would be soaked. That's how easy I find it. So the next thing I'm going to add in is the balancer, which, I'm going to drop it, which looks like this. Little balls. You know what the sensible thing to do would have been? It looks like this. And this is advised to be fed at 100 grams per 100 kilos of horse. All of my horses are roughly the same size. So they're all sort of between 500 and 600 kilos. Maggie and Titan might be slightly bigger because they're a bit porky at the moment, which, you know, obviously riding them and working on getting the weight back off of them, but it's hard when they've been off sick. So these cups, this one's lost its sticker, have stickers on, so it shows you about 250 grams. So as a rule, they need about 2 cups a day to meet that quota, and then that means that they're getting all the vitamins and minerals that they need. So on that note, literally Maggie, Titan, Flint, that is literally all that they need, and they go on this all year round. The only time I adjust it is if Maggie and Titan are in harder work, they get a bit of mix added in, and there's a cool mix in there. I've not got any mix open at the minute because I've not needed it. But the really, really fantastic thing with this is, similar to this, 2 cups a day if you're feeding this. The mix is 2 stub scoops, and by stub scoops I mean a scoop like this, big round one. 2 stub scoops a day of the mixes. And what you can actually do, because you're feeding within the brand, is you can interchange it. So what I'll usually do is, if I'm starting to add in a bit of extra energy to help them out when they're eventing and working a bit harder, I'll drop them to 1 cup of balancer, 1 scoop of mix. Now, the only thing that I do differently is Titan has a cool mix, and there's handy energy levels on the front of the bag, so it makes it really simple. So he has cool mix because he is quite sharp in his own way. He can be quite lazy, but also sharp at the same time. It's a bit weird. So he doesn't need a massively fiery mix. He just needs a little bit of something extra to help with his stamina, throughout the day. Maggie is really cold-blooded with a lot of things, so it gets to the stage where actually I add in quite a high energy mix for her. So I do Keyflow's Maestro, and that's, I think it's their highest energy, I'll check, but she has that added in for her extra energy. But Donut has something different. I'm going to do the cups of balancer first and pop them into the feeds, and I'll tell you what he has. 2 seconds. Okay, that's easy. That is sort of the hard feed, despite the pink mash being fibre, that Maggie, Titan and Flint get. Donut, as I was saying, he is a little firecracker. He is so fiery. So Mum keeps asking if I want to add mix in. I do not. So what I do if I want to add a bit of condition or a tiny bit of energy is I use an excellent source. For the condition, I use a feed called Key Plus, another Kefo feed, which looks like this. And you add it in by the cupful. So again, your horses aren't having to have giant feeds because their stomach isn't very large. So obviously what you want to do is make sure that they are getting the amount that they can digest without it being pushed through before it's digested, because again, it's a massive waste. So I've just had a quick nosy at the bag. It says it is a micronized rice bran, and it's also pre-dried. My words are going today. Pre-digested. So you can feed as much or as little as you want. It's not got all of the vitamins and minerals in it. So that's why we feed the balancer, and we don't swap it out for anything like we do with the mix. But I just add it in as and when I think he needs a little bit of extra condition, because being a thoroughbred, he can get quite lean. But I'm really happy with his condition at the minute. So I'm just occasionally adding in about half a cup. And he absolutely loves it. So I'll add that in now. And then the other thing that I'll add in, if I just want a little kick of energy rather than adding in a full mix, and I always have this in for any of them, is a little bit of Key Fruit 3 oil. I am really struggling with words this evening. So this is got lots of words on it. Made from premium grade cold pressed British linseed, rapeseed and Scottish salmon oil with added garlic. And the horses, again, they really love it. I feel like this is an advert for Kefo. Kefo, you need to sponsor me. But like I say, oil is a great source of energy for horses, and that's what I do. It comes with a pump like this that does it in 30ml measures. And feeding guidelines: mix thoroughly into daily feeds. Commence feeding at 5 to 10 mils per day. Increase gradually over 14 days to desired level as indicated below. And general health, it says 30 to 20 mils a day. I feed about 60, and that is enough. And sometimes I'll drop him down to 30 because he reacts to food so quickly, bless him. And I think that's the great thing, because, you know, a rule of feeding, and you really need to stick firmly by it, is you need to change your feed slowly. And the biggest reason for that is because your horses, enzymes in their stomach, and you feed at roughly the same time of day. So my horses know that when it gets dark, it's about feeding time. I don't stick to a strict time, because actually, personally, I think that causes more trouble than good. Other people have other opinions, but I always feel like I'd be in a panic if I always fed at 6 p.m. and I couldn't get back to the yard for 6 p.m. for some reason, or I needed to be riding at that time, etc. I just feel like they would be more thrown off than knowing that they just get their evening feed or their breakfast, etc. So, you know, starting the end of the day, quite easy timings for me. And going back to the feed, changing your feed gradually, horses start creating enzymes. I'm really hoping I'm saying all this right, because I've not done any revision and I've been busy looking at eye drops, not looking at horses' stomachs for a while. But they create those, they're getting ready to digest the feed. And if you suddenly give them a ginormous feed, or a feed absolutely full of energy that they're not used to, they're not prepared, they've not got what they need to digest it. And that's when you start risking things like colic and the likes. So if you're going to start changing feeds, do it as gradually as you can. Try and do it over probably a week, and just give them time to get used to it. So like I say, Donut has 30 mils of oil at the minute. He might bump up to 60. Gosh, what day is it? It's Tuesday, despite it feeling like Wednesday. So yeah, he might bump up to 60 on Thursday, just to make sure that he's definitely got enough energy going in to be ready for his next event on Saturday. But see how just going 30 mils on a change, it's not a massive change. His body can take that. And that is literally So once I've added in our chaff, all that they have, it's not very complex. And the thing that I love about the feeds is that I give them about half a scoop of chaff, by the way, another scoop. The thing that I love about them is that it's so simple. We've got an Irish sports horse out there, Irish sports horse cross warm blood, thoroughbred, and a Welsh section D, all sat out there looking absolutely incredible on the same feeding system. And I also found, like, Mum's Flint is absolute Looney Tune sometimes. She used to have him on a Karma before we moved to the Pink Mash, and she's taken him off of the Karma because he just seems so much more settled on it, which is lovely. So that's the most roundabout way of telling you what I feed my horses. I think I'd like to redo this, but I promise I'll put it out tomorrow because I am good like that, and I am one of those perfectionists that if I allowed myself to be as much of a perfectionist as I wanted to be, I probably would have never set up this channel. Because I would have made the videos and gone, they're not good enough, and not put them up. So, simple as that. That is the feeds made. But we do also add a succulent with every feed, which at the minute are carrots. Got a bin filled with them. Easy peasy as that to make the feeds. So pink mash, balancer, chaff, a little bit of extra for donut. And I know that they're getting all their vitamins and minerals. They're not getting too much protein. They're not getting too much sugar. And I know that they look really well on it, and they've always felt really well on it as well. So a question that I got asked was, how do I know what to feed the horses and the likes? And do I have a dietitian? I think the words were. I work with Keyflow quite closely. If I have any questions, I give them a call. They've all got the nutritionist there at the end of the phone, and they're usually so good just to send me a plan out. So I'll insert a picture. Maggie came to us in a really, really thin condition, and Mum and I were like, oh my goodness, she's so lean. What do we do with her? Because we didn't want to like pump her full of food and it be the wrong thing as a rising 4-year-old. So we gave Keyflow a call and sent them pictures, and they sent us a full plan back and suggested we used one of their feeds called Nurture, which steadily increased the weight gain and gave her all the vitamins and minerals that she needed being a young horse. Similarly, obviously Maggie had a stint of colitis and was cut open for colic surgery this summer. Again, she lost a lot of weight while she was in because it was such an ordeal. Again, we rang them up, we talked them through it. I've got really, really long emails where they've said make sure she gets a variety of forage, do this. We put her onto their feed, which is Sensi Care, which is super good for their tummy. I mean, everything is designed towards ulcer management with this, and I believe in it fully. But the Sensi Care is like a step further for the sensitive horses, and I've actually got a bag of that down there, and it's probably the mix I'll add in for her if she needs mix at the minute rather than going to the Maestro, just because I know that she has had that little blip this summer. I just know they're at the end of the phone, so they're there to give me advice. On top of that, I have my Pony Club A test, and I also have my equine sports science degree, so I like to think I'm fairly educated when it comes to making sure that the horses are getting what they need and reading the bags. I mean, I feel like I've sounded a bit dim about the feeds this evening because I made the decision that they were on this years ago and did all of the research then, and since then it's just been like, yep, they have this, this and this, and I adjust it as and when they need, like I've just suggested with those calls with Maggie, and I've had it with other horses where they've been a bit fiery. And I know if Donut starts losing his condition this winter, because I think I'm going to make him live out, because he really likes being in the field. So I think it's going to suit him better. I know I'll give Keyflow a call and just have a chat with them about what they think that we can do. And then another element to deciding what they eat just comes in that I look at how they are. I see how that they're acting, how they're reacting. If they're dropping weight, I will look at whether they need more food. If they're feeling like they're lacking energy, again, I'll look at it. Something I've not mentioned, they always have ad lib forage, partly a bit of an ulcer prevention, well, probably wholly an ulcer prevention, but also it's naturally how they're meant to eat, isn't it? Horses are foragers, they're meant to eat little and often, their digestive systems are meant to continually be on the go. And, you know, if they're likely to get cold, I'll try and encourage them to eat a bit more, because their stomach is their radiator. Well, I say their stomach, not their stomach. Their digestive system is their radiator, but then that starts going into a big anatomy lesson, so we're not going to broach that tonight. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, drop them down in the message below. Like I say, I am going to do a much better video on this. I might even do a presentation. We'll see. In the meantime, another question that I had is what the plans are and what we are doing moving forwards with the horses. So a little update on that. Donut has his final event of the season on Saturday. We will be going to Norton Disney to have a nice spin around the B90. It's our most local event on the calendar, so I know it like the back of my hand, and I'm quite excited to take him. And Maggie and Titan are on their way back into work and getting fit, and with that in mind, all of the horses are going to stay in work this winter. Donut will have a slightly easier time, but I want to keep his muscles building up, so he'll be hacking and doing a bit of gymnastic training just to increase his muscles. And Maggie and Titan are getting fit in preparation for a winter of dressage and show jumping. I've been looking at it. I think I'm going to have a go and get some introductory memberships to BD and BS. So Maggie's certainly going to do some BS and Titan's certainly going to do some BD. And I'm really excited to take you along with that. And well, I've never been a member of BS, and BD, gosh, I did it, I think it was like 2016, 17, so a long time ago on 2 different horses. So I'm quite excited to have a crack at that and enjoy the winter, because the horses usually have a bit of a holiday at this stage, having worked all summer. But obviously Maggie and Titan have had holidays this summer, so I was like, we need a new aim, a new goal, something to keep me motivated to keep on riding these dark nights. So we are thinking we will go and do a bit of pure stuff. So I'm hoping you are going to enjoy coming along with us. I also hope that you have enjoyed this slightly different video with no pony riding about what I feed the horses. As I say again, pop any questions down below and I will redo this video in much more depth. And I also need your help. If you remember from the start, what colour bucket am I going to get for Donutty, given he's going to stay for a bit longer? I don't know. Shall I give you some options? Yellow, a darker blue, purple, or red? Okay, they are the options. I've pinned myself down to them. So tell me in the comments what you think would suit him best, and I will go and source said bucket for him so that he is no longer on the guest bucket. And on that note, guys, I am going off to edit this video so that it comes out on time. So hope you enjoyed it. Bye.